Hi golfers, I'm Scott Fletcher and I'm the PGA professional here at UK Golf Academy for over 10 years. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can improve your swing and your consistency when you feel like you've lost it on the course. It's a really common problem that I have to deal with daily in my golf lessons, and I want you to know how to fix it. And stay tuned for a great drill that I use in my own game that helps me fix my swing on the fly when it stops working on the course. So what is consistency? Basically, consistency comes from knowing, firstly, what to do, having a clear concept about what the correct thing is to do over the shot, and then knowing what you've done wrong or what you've done differently so that you can see there's a gap there that you've got to try and close. It really is as simple as that. This is partly education and having the right sort of concept around what the correct thing is to do, because some people don't actually know the correct things to do. They're not trying to do the right stuff. And it's partly being able to develop like a feel of what went wrong in your swing. So you can feel if you've hit the toe of the club, you can feel if you've hit the ball thin, that sort of thing. It's also knowing your tendencies. Do you tend to hit the ball out the toe? Do you tend to hit the ball out the heel? Because this will continue, like this doesn't change a lot through time. And lastly, being able to judge the ball flight. If you can look at the ball flight, that can really tell you if you've, about what part of the club you've hit, what the club face position was like, what the swing path was like. And this is what section 1 of our program is all about, which you can obviously get for free by signing up to this link. And that will show you the tests that you can use so you know exactly what it is that you're doing wrong. And as we said, then you can start to close that gap between what you're doing and what you should be doing. There are really two main ways that you can change your swing and therefore improve your consistency. You've got like outcome and skill-based changes where you're doing more skill development and you're literally just trying to change the outcome of the shot. So you might be just focusing on changing a toe hit to a center hit. And you've got technique or swing-based changes, which are more like changing maybe the movement in your swing in order to try and affect that outcome and move the strike across the face. Both are different and both can work, and you've really got to practice to see which gets you the best results. The first type of swing change that you can use to get more consistency is skill-based or outcome-based changes. So that might be, if you're hitting the toe of the club over here, you could simply just try and aim to get it in the center, just trying to think about the outcome that you're trying to change to improve your shots. Sometimes, and you'll see this in our other videos, is you literally just need to aim for the center and that will be enough. Just thinking about it will be enough to change it and get the consistency. Sometimes you really got to feel like you exaggerate it and actually move and try and hit a little bit too far on the other side to make that work. And of course that will apply if you're hitting maybe the ground too much. You would have to try and raise the swing up so it doesn't hit the ground as much. And sometimes you've got to exaggerate that and you've got to feel like you really raise it up more so that maybe even you feel like you're going to thin the ball. So there are two really good ways of practicing this skill-based change or outcome-based change. The first is what we call variability training. So what that is that's trying to get the correct outcome in a number of different ways. So for example, if I was going to hit this shot over the bunker here and my ground contact was a bit inconsistent, I could start with the club, say, too far behind the ball or slightly above the ball and still try and get the correct ground contact as a way of improving my skill and getting more consistent with my ground contact. The second way is what we call differential training, and that's actually getting it slightly wrong on purpose sometimes. So let's use the same example of hitting the ground in the right spot. If I deliberately had the swing too high and thinned the ball on purpose, or if I deliberately had the swing too low and hit the ground too much on purpose, by doing that, I'm still actually developing control over how high or low my club is, which means I should be able to control the contact to get it correct if I needed to. And that's what I'm going to show you now. I can do a practice swing that's too high on purpose, one that's too low on purpose, and by doing that, that helps me find the middle ground, get the correct ground contact, so I can hit a nice strike on that shot. So I was able to change the outcome or the ground contact on that shot by practicing my skill by using differential training or variability training. Second way that you can improve your technique and your consistency is by using a technique or swing based change. Now what that is we're going to use the same example of, say you weren't hitting the ground consistently and that's what was causing your bad shots. You might change the way you shift your weight or the way you maintain your posture in order to affect how you hit the ground. So let's use the example of shifting the weight. If I've been hitting the ground too early, I can shift the weight more to change my ground contact and get the outcome that I want. Now, of course, you're going to need to have the knowledge of your swing or maybe use a coach to help you understand which part of your swing needs to change the ground contact. And that's why this one is probably takes a little bit longer and maybe needs a little bit more help compared to the skill-based ones, which you can just work on anywhere and by yourself. But by using this change in your swing technique, this will generally help you if you've got a very like a constant pattern in terms of you're always hitting the ground before the ball or you're always topping it. That might need a technique or a swing-based change. So for example, if I'm not shifting my weight, I'm always likely to catch the ground back here behind the ball. So I'll implement a change to my swing, a technique-based change, where I shift that weight across. And now you can see I'm hitting the ground much more in front of the ball, much more where it should be. And that takes us back to concept. We've got to have a good and correct concept of where we should be hitting the ground. And now I feel I'm ready to hit the ball and I should be able to make contact in the right spot and hit a clean shot. And the typical way to work on these swing-based changes or technique-based changes would be like drills, mirror work at a driving range, that sort of thing. Implementing it on the course is a little more difficult. That's why I prefer them skill-based ones. But sometimes if you've done enough practice in front of a mirror, you can sort of feel where you are without needing that feedback. So I know I said I probably prefer the skill-based changes and the outcome-based changes when you're on the course, but you really should practice both on the range and on the course to see what gets better results for you. And by better results, I mean what gives you the quickest and most reliable change back to the correct impact. So I did promise you that I'd show you a drill that I use in my own game to improve my consistency. Now, we've spoke about differential training already, making a change too much one way, too much the other way to improve your control and improve your skill so you can get it right as well. And I'm going to show you how you can do that with your ground contact in the bunker. You can do swings where you're deliberately either going to miss the sand or just clip it, just take a tiny amount, which is of course making the ground contact a little bit too high or not quite enough. You can do a swing where you take far too much. And of course, if I was hitting that shot on the grass, I'd hit the divot far too deep, far too early, and I'd have lost all my distance. And I can also do a swing where I try and find the middle now, and I clip just the right depth of sand in just the right spot. As I said, this differential training is really good because you're actually developing control and you're developing skill. So you can actually deliberately do too high, too low, and that means that you can do it just right as well. So of course, I've just shown you how you can use that to improve your consistency of your ground contact, but actually you can use that for anything. Say for example, you weren't hitting the middle of the club face. You could deliberately hit the toe, you could deliberately hit the heel, which improves your skill of being able to hit the centre. If your club face control wasn't right, if you kept leaving the club face open and hitting slices, you could use the same principles. You could deliberately close the club face too much. You could deliberately open the club face too much at impact. And by doing that, again, you're developing control and skill, so you should be able to get it square as well. Of course, it takes a lot of practice to get used to this and to get comfortable with it, but through time and through practice, you certainly will get more comfortable, more confident, and you'll know how much to sort of apply to it when you're on the course to get the right amount of change. I really do hope this video has helped you to find a better way to consistency in your game. I know how frustrating golf can be, particularly when you have so many good shots in a row and then something crops up and out of nowhere you just can't fix it. This video will definitely help you with that. I've really enjoyed making this video for you, and if you liked it too, be sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel and then leave a comment below if you have any further questions. Thanks again for watching.